Okay, let's dive into annotating a map. So what we want to do is we want to get our tools to appear on the side here so I can draw on my map. So there are two ways I can do that. I could click on Add and then go Add Map Notes. And what this allows me to do is to create a layer. Now, I'll get into the layering process a little bit later on, but it's always a very good idea to give each map layer a good title. So, for instance, we're going to be talking about land uses, and so I'm going to give it the title land use. So once I've created that, you'll notice that all of my tools appear. I'm just going to switch the base map over into satellite imagery because we're going to be looking at buildings. And I want to find my school. So 535 Lake Street, St. Catharines. Now, the other way I could have got the tools to appear is to simply click on this Add to Map Notes. And as soon as I search for any feature, so I usually tell the students to find the school, and I click on Add to Map Notes, it will also automatically create the the tools to be available. So either way works. I'm just going to get rid of this layer though. Remove. And if my tools have disappeared, so for instance, I call this sort of details mode. There's two different ways of viewing your map. There is editor mode, which allows you to draw things on your map. And when you're in edit mode, all of your tools will appear. If, on the other hand, I've finished off my map and I wanted to sort of show off all the features that I've created, I want to be in this details mode, and I want to click on content. And this allows me to turn on and off layers, and when I click on things, the pop-up boxes and so on that I've created will come up properly. So we'll see this in a few moments. All right, so let's click on edit. And what we're going to do is draw just a couple of features. So we'll start off with a line feature. So I want to draw the artery roads that surround the school. So I'm going to just click on line, and then I'm going to single click, and then double click at the very end. So I'm going to call this Lakeport Road. And I want to change the symbol so that it's a little bit thicker. At the moment, it's a very, very thin line, a little bit hard to see on this map with all the satellite features that are around. So I'm going to switch this to a red line and a line thickness of about 8. So it's really going to be quite visible. I might want to put in here that this is a transportation land use. And click close. So there we go. Nice thick line. Now I'll do that again. Single click, double click. This is Lake Street. And once again, transport use. And we'll change the symbol to the same red and a line thickness of 8. So those are linear features. Now let's draw a couple of polygons. So what I do with my students is I give them a piece of paper with this on it. I've taken a screenshot and put it onto the paper, and then we walk around the school and we identify all the land uses that are around the school. They quickly sort of color in their paper map, and then we go back to the classroom. I take a look to make sure that everybody's paper map has been done correctly, and then we make a digital version of it. So this is one of the first activities I do with my students. Now, you don't have to use your school, but you want to find an area with a couple of different land uses. So for instance, we've got some commercial property over here and down in this area. So I'm going to click on the area tool. The reason why I want to use the area tool is it's going to shade in the polygon once I'm finished. So when I single click, and I'm going to double click at the end here. Oops. And I'm going to call this commercial. Now I could get fancy. There's a Petro-Canada that's found in this spot. So what I could do is I could do a quick Google search for Petro-Canada. And I'm going to click on images. And there's the logo. Now I need to click on the logo first, and then I'm going to right click on the image. And it's very important that I'm not going to copy the image, but instead copy the image address. And sometimes this works. The reason why I picked the Wikipedia one is typically those images are free to use, so others are protected and you might have some issues with it. Now, unfortunately, they've put this HTTP in here to begin with. You gotta get rid of that. If a student's image doesn't appear, it's more than likely because they didn't delete that HTTP first and then paste in the image URL into that spot. I can also change the color for this. So let's click on change symbol, and you'll notice that there's fill and outline. This typically also trips up students. Fill is the color it's going to be shaded in with. So for instance, I'm going to pick a nice blue here, and then I like giving it a nice sharp outline in black with a line thickness of about 4. And it gives it a nice sharp looking look to it. So there we go. So this is all commercial area. Now, remember how I was mentioning about detail mode? At the moment, if I click on it, it's in edit mode and it's just showing all the coding and so on. But if I click on details and click on content, I can now click on it and you'll see the lovely pop-up that appears when I click on each one of these features. If I want to get my tools back, I simply click on edit and my tools will reappear. Now, you have to be careful if you have multiple layers that you created. So let's say, for instance, I go add map notes, and I don't know, I'm going to put earthquakes here. So right now I've got 2 layers that are active, and typically that's not a good idea if I'm going to be drawing things. I like to turn off the layer that I'm not going to be working with. And so if I want to draw, I don't know, the epicenter of an earthquake, it's happening right here at good old Eden High School. So I'm going to click on edit. You'll notice up here it says earthquake, points, text, lines, etc., etc. And that makes sure that whatever I draw is going to go on that earthquake layer. So I'm just going to click on push pin. I'm going to drop a push pin right here. And I'm going to change the symbol now. You'll notice that it defaults to these shapes, which are great, but there are fabulous other options in here. So I'm going to look for, what is it, disasters. There we go. And there should be an earthquake appearance. There we are. Yeah, maybe I'll use this one. And now I've got an earthquake symbol on there for the school. So when I click on details again, you'll see that I've just got the earthquake symbol appearing here, but if I turn on the layer called land uses, now my other layer of information comes on. So this is what makes it really powerful in that Google Maps, typically you only have one layer and everything gets thrown on one layer, whereas with ArcGIS, you can do this layering approach and you can turn on and off layers so that only certain elements are going to appear at any given time. Don't forget to save your work. It's really easy to forget to save, and then you lose your work.